Hello there, Pisces. Thank you so much for stopping by for your monthly in-depth tarot forecast. I do have the month broken down into 5 separate weeks. We're actually starting November 29th and ending up January 2nd. The first time frame that we're going to look at is November 29th through December 5th for you. This is a general reading, which means that not everything that you see here will apply to every single one of you Pisces that watches, but most of it will apply to most of you. In the off chance that this just doesn't resonate for you at all, you may want to check your rising sign or your moon sign instead. Cross watchers, you are absolutely welcome to be here. However, do not be confused. On this channel, energies are not reversible. This reading is for Pisces. It is about Pisces. You might show up by happenstance. If you do, you're going to know it because I'm going to say there's another person here that yada yada yada. But this reading is basically for and about Pisces. If you want a reading for yourself, please go check your own sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign. If you're here just to see about a Pisces that you care about in your sphere of influence, you're welcome to be here. Just remembering that this is not about you. This is about them. All right, Pisces, we do have your cards on the table. Let's take a peek at what has shown up here, shall we? We're going to start off with your environment during the time frame from November 29th to December through spit it out, Amista. Through December 5th. Now, environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. For most people, it's home, but for other people, it shows up as work or as school. So you just want to keep an open mind about where I may be talking about in your particular case. What I'm seeing when I'm looking at environment is there's a lot of insecurity here, and it looks like there's something going on in your environment where you feel like you may have bit off more than you can chew here, and I feel like you're backing out of something that you have stepped into where you didn't really know exactly how to handle this. It didn't come with the owner's manual. It didn't come with a guide, at least not one that you could read or follow very well. And so now you're stepping back in this situation, and I feel like, I feel like that's what this insecurity is all about, this idea that you may be in over your head whenever it comes to your environment. I just want to feel around on this last little bit of information to make sure I'm getting it to you correctly. I think there is a lot of confusion here about whether you're going to keep going in this environment or whether you're going to either do something different in the environment or switch environments. So for some of you, this could be a job that you got into and you maybe tweaked your resume a little bit and now you got into the job and they're expecting you to know the things that you say you know. And you may be realizing that, I'm not able to pick that up as quickly as I thought. And so you're trying to figure out how to make it through that situation. That would be one way that could pan out. Not quite sure how that would pan out in a home environment. But anyway, I'm sure that you guys will recognize it much more quickly than I will because this is a general story that's applying to most of you. So obviously it's going to be manifesting in a bunch of different ways for different ones of you. Let's look at your subconscious leanings during this time frame. You are really wanting to, I think you're wanting to build up your finances. You're wanting to become financially stronger at this point. The problem is you don't really have a good idea about how to actually accomplish that, but you know that if you could think of something and be able to follow through with it, it would help you get caught up on your finances. So that's what's going on in your subconscious leanings, really looking for an idea to help you catch up with finances. La da 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 da. For some of you, it may not even be about catching up. It may be about having enough to help your kids pay for college, or, to do some of the things that you want to do in your life, including helping other people as much as you would like to be able to help them. That seems to be a big part of this energy coming in here. Now, la da da da. Communication style and learning style. We're going to start with learning style. I think that there is somebody who really has your attention right about now, and I think that you are, I think this person is teaching you some things on a one-to-one basis, shall we say. I think that's all I'm going to say. I do want to keep this adult, as an adult video, so those of you who can figure out the implications because I said that, then yeah, you're thinking the right thing here. Okay. Let's see, what else do we have coming up as far as learning style? La da 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 da. I think you're actually learning about your own strength, your own sovereignty. Not sure how you say the word, in your life. You're learning what you're in charge of, what you have control over, what is yours to make decisions about. And I think you're coming to the realization that you have control over a lot more than what you realized in the past. What else are we learning? This is funny. Happiness in reverse is how this comes across to me. And I don't mean unhappiness. What I mean is, I think that you're going back to some of the things that used to make you happy. I think it's been a long time since you feel like you've really felt happy. And I think you're going back to some of those things that used to make you feel happy in order to go back and get your mojo, basically. So learning to find your happiness again by remembering those things that you used to do that made you happy. All right, looking next at communication style. What do we have? I do see some one-on-one communication coming in here. I almost feel like this one-on-one communication is necessary communication. It cannot be avoided. And that may be because, this is somebody that you work with, and so you have to speak with them. I don't feel like it's bad. I don't feel like you want to avoid it, but I just feel like there's no way around this communication. Like if somebody would say to you, oh, I can't have you communicating to that person, it just wouldn't work. It wouldn't fit your lifestyle or your life because you need to communicate with them as a part of doing what you do every day. All right, looking next at other styles of communication. I do feel like you're saying some what you feel like are some very important things to some of the people in your sphere of influence. And I feel like as you are saying these things, you're letting them know that, hey, what I'm saying is important. This is not just casual everyday conversation. This is something that is super important to me. All right. And then I feel like a lot of your conversation right now is observing, has to do with observing, and it does have to do with sort of fishing for information. So you're doing a lot of listening, you're doing a lot of observing. You may be asking some questions that aren't exactly directed at the answer that you want, but they're in the neighborhood so that the answer that you get is going to give you a clue about the answer that you want. You know what I mean? Kind of fishing for information, only doing it in a sideways sort of way, not directly asking the question that you want the answer to, but asking about something else, just hoping the person will ramble around to the answer you want. Because really, I think you don't want the other person to know that you want to know about whatever that specific thing is, or person, or person. Okay, let's look at work. Oh, I like it. So there's something really fun coming up at work during this time frame, and I think there's some type of new project or new go-ahead, and I think that this is something that you know, it's so happiness making whenever this go ahead comes through, that I think it absolutely has you celebrating. Has you celebrating. But even though it has you celebrating, I do think it also brings a sense of imbalance into your life as well, where you really, even though maybe this new thing that's coming in, that's work, maybe now that you've got this go ahead, maybe you're really obsessing with it and you're having a hard time to just, stop at the end of the day and go home, or stop thinking about it, or stop working about it. And you're having a hard time focusing on family or focusing on me time. There's definitely something coming in here that's imbalanced about this situation, and that would be the most logical thing going from these cards, that this would be about the idea that this is such good news and you're so happy about it that it's really hard to just to stay in balance about it. I think that you're so happy that it is throwing you off balance. I do feel like that off balance sense, though, is a temporary thing. November 29 to December 5. Inner work here. Inner work here really has to do with bringing yourself into balance, not only with work, but in life in general, and bringing yourself into balance by celebrating those things that are joyful to you. So celebrating those things that are joyful to you to help find your balance back. Not over-celebrating, celebrating. Okay? Now, let's look next at that part of your personality which is growing or expanding as we go through this time. La da 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 da. So, this is interesting. We may take a peek at this on a deeper level in an expanded reading, I think. What we have is we find you as being attracted to someone or something, some activity, some hobby, something, literally, maybe even. There's something that you're attracted, or someone that you're attracted to here. You're really enjoying time that you're spending working on this, or participating in this, or talking to this person. And this attraction is kind of pushing you to make some decisions that are not necessarily in your best interest. And it's really, I think it's really undermining your security because you're paying so much attention to this thing that you're attracted to. This could totally be connected with what we saw at work, where you're putting so much energy and effort into this one project that you've got the go-ahead on now, that you're letting your bread and butter money makers fall to the, and security becomes an issue because of this, because you're not willing to let go of this long enough to pay attention to the bread and butter. Okay. Okay. Let's look at those things that you stand for. So this is going to be something that somebody wants to talk to you about. Maybe they even confront you about this. And so you're going to have to explain this, stand up for this, defend this. So let's look at this situation. All right. So Pisces, it looks like there's somebody who was significant to you who has passed away, and this is in the past. This is not going to be during this week of November 29th to December 5th. It's in the past that somebody has passed away. And I think what's going on is you are studying the metaphysical. You're studying things like mediumship. You're studying things like psychic abilities. You're studying these things, particularly mediumship, because I think that has been a part of what has been helping you to get past the idea that you're no longer able to physically contact this person anymore. And it feels to me like I feel like this may be another place in your life where right now you're not feeling very balanced. Maybe it's the same place as we saw earlier, this focusing on mediumship, to the point of exclusion of other things, possibly. But it looks to me like there is I want to say that this person who's passed away that has you really studying mediumship and who has led you to this, I think that you may have been literally a mother to this person, or you may have been a mother figure to this person, or a grandmother to this person who has passed away. That's what I'm seeing here. Bereaved, feeling like someone was stolen from you. You could have even been, some of you could have even been wives or significant others to this person, or spouses. Doesn't have to be female, but I am getting a strong sense of the feminine here. All right, so how does this other person see you after you've explained the situation to them? They see you as somebody who is coming through a challenge and coming through it successfully, and they see it as, you know, you have to make a judgment call. You have to decide whether this is something that you want to pursue or not, but they're seeing it as it definitely brings you happiness. So it looks like they're backing off of trying to make any kind of decision for you here. They are giving the respect to let you know that, okay, well, you know, this is a decision that you have to make, and you've gone through some hard times. I think they're saying, you know, I can't imagine what you've gone through, and it's almost like if this is where this is going to lead you, well then, who am I to interfere with that? That's kind of the attitude that looks like to me. Okay? Now I want to look at okay. I forgot to set aside my cards I wanted to look at earlier with that where you're growing or expanding. All right, let's look next, Pisces, at your flex point. Now your flex point is going to be the place where things start to kind of change direction for you. You're going to be experiencing either a lesson or experience at a different level from what you've experienced it before. And that is going to sort of change your perspective, which changes your direction here. It does look to me like you are looking for where you fit in. And this may very well have to do with the job. You may not feel like you fit in anymore in a job situation that you're in right now. And you might be wanting to find a job situation where you do fit in better. But this could also be playing out in the workforce as well. You could be looking at this very analytically and realizing that, you know what, this could also be playing out in a relationship. We've already talked about a job. You could be looking at this very analytically and realizing, you know, I don't think I fit in where I am right now. So if you're single, you don't feel like you're meant to be single. If you're with somebody, you don't feel like you're meant to be in that relationship. If this is a relationship thing, this could be a work thing just as easily. And either way, you're looking for where do I fit in, whether it's relationship or whether it's work. I think you're letting go of a situation, either a work situation or a relationship situation, and now you're basically trying to find your way in a new direction or on a new path. All right, so what's going on as you incorporate this lesson or experience into your life? You're feeling like you're out there on the raw and ragged edge. And I feel like you feel like you're out there on the raw and ragged edge all by yourself. But you're getting really good at finding your zen, at finding your peace, at finding that place where you know that you know that you know that you're okay. And you are facing your fears. And that's why you feel like you're on the raw and ragged edge, is because you are facing your fears. But I don't feel like facing your fears has you frantic. I feel like it has you motivated to find that zen space to get your mojo going. Okay. What else is going on? I think you're having a hard time letting go of whatever that was that you let go of, whether it was a job or a relationship. Either way, you're having a hard time letting go of it, but you are taking the time to strengthen yourself and to focus on yourself. Even to the point that you may be taking some alone time to really think things through and figure out, well, what are my priorities here? What do I want out of a situation like this? And then I think you're coming out into the world knowing what it is that you want. And even though you're having a hard time letting go of this old thing, I think you're beginning to head in a more positive direction. Okay? La da da da. What else? Where do we see you at the end of this week, Pisces? Where do we see you now? Looks to me like you're enduring something. This is the card that I have coming up. I'm using my Wildwood Tarot. The literal label on this is the Five of Stones and endurance. And I think endurance is a fascinating word because it does talk about putting up with things that we're not too thrilled about. And we're doing it because we expect that after a certain thing happens or after a certain amount of time has gone by, we will no longer have to endure and we will have a reward. It will be worth that endurance. So that's a fascinating word to me. I mean, maybe I'm a little skeptical, but it seems like we're putting ourselves in misery to believe in a fairy tale. That's kind of how I see that. But it looks to me like you are enduring something right now in hopes that something good is going to come out. And what's happening? There's a delay here. There's a delay in the completion of this. There's a delay in finishing up this endurance. And it looks to me like this, where you might have thought that this was going to end at a certain point in time, maybe sometime during this week from November 29th to December 5th. No, it's not. I think that you're getting word that no, this situation is going to continue on for some of you for an unannounced amount of time. But for others of you, there may be a time frame. There may be a time frame. But either way, even whether you have a time frame or whether you don't, I think you're finding out during this time frame, even though you've been enduring and waiting for something, it's not happening yet. And in fact, that's not really the thing that I want to look, what I was looking at, the expansion, where your personality is growing and expanding. That's not what I want to look at. I want to look at what it is that you're waiting for, what it is that you're enduring for. Why is it that it's being delayed? Is it going to be worth it for you to wait for this? Some things are worth the wait. Some things aren't. Is it going to be worth it for you? So that's what our expanded is going to be all about today. Let me go ahead and wrap this up. If I don't see you at the expanded, then I'll see you back here in a couple minutes. We are back, Pisces, and this time we are looking at December the 6th through the 12th for you, just seeing what kind of energies are coming in and influencing that time frame for you. This is a reading that is for Pisces and about Pisces. Cross-watchers are welcome, but realize that energies on my channel are not reversible. I know who I'm reading for. Alrighty. Thank you all for being here. Thank you for the thumbs ups, and thank you for sharing this video with others who may find it helpful as well. Thank you also to those of you who participate in the lives and the super chats. And thank you to those of you who order private readings from me, or Reiki sessions, or Reiki candles. It is because of all of you guys' support at every single level that I am able to do what I love to do for my living. Oh, and also thank you for people who are buying the new expanded readings. They don't cost very much, but I think they're great if you have an inquiring mind. You want to know a little bit more than shows up in these readings. Okay, so Pisces, what I'm looking at first is your environment. What we have here is that your environment is actually becoming more stable, more secure. It looks to me like part of the reason it's becoming more stable and more secure is because there's been something that's been bothering you about your environment, and you've decided to quit pretending that everything's okay and let somebody know that, you know, there's something here that really needs to change, and you're taking this as an opportunity to make things better. So I'm liking what I'm seeing on the environment. There's definitely transition. It probably took some guts to get that initiated, but I like the outcome there. Looking at your subconscious leanings for this week, okay, so it looks like you're in a position of leadership, and I think that you really enjoy leading whatever this is, where you're in a position of leadership, whether this is a family, a business project, a hobby group, you know, some other type of group. The problem is you're a little bit out of ideas about how to lead this group cohesively forward. And so your subconscious is working on, okay, how can I make that situation better than it is? Looking next at learning style and also communication. I do think you have a lot of solid information that you're relying on during this time frame, and this is information that you've actually a while ago, but I think it's coming in very useful at this point in time. You are learning about some things that have to do with people's emotions and people's feelings during this time as well. And I think also you are learning some things that are just fun and just for fun. Now, as far as your communication style, oh, Pisces, you might be sending smoke signals. Now, when I see signals come up in a reading, what that means is that, you're making implications, you're making insinuations, but you're not coming out and just saying what's on your mind. You're making people kind of guess. You're giving them little bits and pieces so that they might sort of kind of suspect what you're thinking, but they don't really know for sure because you're not telling them for sure. Okay? I do see you talking a lot about emotions and how important different people and even different things, situations, activities are for you and in your life during this time frame as well. Emotions feature very heavily in your communication. And I also sense that you are kind of prioritizing or ranking different relationships that you have in your life at this point as well, sort of setting some priorities on relationships that you want to pay more attention to and others that maybe it's okay if they sort of go on the back burner for a little bit. Alrighty. And I do think you're talking about that prioritization too, by the way. That's part of your communication style. Next, we are looking at work, Pisces. So, wow. Okay. It looks like work could be really icy right now. For some of you, this will literally be cold in the environment that you're working in. You may be driving through or working in snow, literally, for some of you. Yeah, I think there is something going on that you're having a hard time turning loose of at work. But I think that there is something new coming in, but I think it's hard for you to see that new opportunity coming in because things are so icy. It looks to me like this snow is sort of blocking your vision from this new opportunity that may be coming in. And it's really interesting to me because I think some of you, this is literally snow that you're working in or working with. But others of you, I feel like this is not snow itself, but more of a figurative, icy environment where people are, cold and impersonal, or maybe even cold and unfriendly. So I think that this environment, one way or the other, is kind of blocking you from seeing. It's like any opportunities here are hidden by that coldness, okay, and the snow and the ice going on here. And it looks to me like, there may be a situation where there's somebody at work that you're just not able to see eye to eye with them, and this may be why all this iciness is coming in. There are things under the surface here. If you guys could get beyond this iciness and get things back to normal operations for yourselves, there would be opportunities to work together and really create something good. But for right now, at least during this week, I don't see that so much happening. Now, what do I say on a regular basis? Why do we get these readings ahead of time, Pisces? So that if we see something we don't like showing up in the energy, we can head that off at the pass and turn it around. So if there's iciness at work, what can you do? Come up with a plan to prevent that, to not let it grow and magnify to the point that you can't be on the same page with somebody that you work closely with. All right, turn that around real quick. You have the opportunity now, and if that's your will, you have free will, you can do that. All right, let's look at inner work. Inner work does have a lot to do with reflection. And I mean a lot of reflection. You're thinking a lot of things through. And I think there is some amount of communication going on as you're thinking things through, but mostly it's all about the inner work. All about the inner work. And I think you're also looking at not only yourself, but also how you are bonded to different people in your life. What ties you and other people together? What kind of ties have you created? What kind of ties do you have? And are they healthy for you or not healthy? I think your inner work is really to examine all of that and sort of shake up what needs to be shaken up there. Now, la da 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 da. Next thing we're looking at talks to me about the lesson or experience. No, excuse me, that part of your personality that's being grown or expanded here. I mix those up a little bit. They're very closely related, actually. Where you're being grown or expanded is you're basically finding your empowerment, and you're finding your empowerment through your own intuition, Pisces. Isn't that interesting? I think we had that come up a lot last week as well. But your own intuition is leading you down a clear path of understanding that without paying attention to the intuition, you really wouldn't have. And so that path of understanding that you're being led down with the intuition is what's making you feel more empowered. And why is this happening? I'll tell you why it's happening. Because there's somebody in your sphere of influence who's basically being a little butthead. Okay, this is somebody who has a more immature attitude. If they're not actually more immature, they can be very sarcastic and cutting. They can say some things that are just really horrid, to tell you the truth. And it is saying those types of things to you, and it's really making you go inward and trust that intuition, trust that path where that intuition is leading you. And it's making you more empowered instead of less empowered because of what this person says. I like it. Turn it around and put it right in their face. You're not getting weaker just because they're talking ugly to you. You're actually getting stronger. I like it. I don't see that too often in a reading. It's really nice, actually. Now, la da da da. Next thing that we're looking at are those things that you stand for, Pisces. So this is something that somebody has literally wanted to talk to you about. Maybe they've even confronted you about this. So you've had to stand up and defend this, or you've had to explain this. So the situation that you've had to defend or explain, it tells me that basically you've been through some stuff. And because you've been through some stuff, you've created some safeguards to keep yourself from having a repeat of that cycle again. And actually these safeguards bring you a lot of peace. They make you feel very calm and like, you know, you have control of your own power. And sometimes these safeguards actually put you in a situation where you're drifting away from somebody in your sphere of influence. Honestly, I don't think that you feel like this is a bad thing here. I think that those safeguards are in place, and I think that you feel like if they weren't in place, yeah, maybe people wouldn't be drifting away, but maybe those people that are drifting away, maybe it's a good thing that they do. I think that's how you're looking at that. Now, how the other person sees you after you've discussed the situation, they see you definitely as somebody who has been exploited or taken advantage of in the past. They feel like you have not healed up from that yet, and that's why you still have those boundaries up, because they feel like you haven't healed yet, and they feel like you have really everything that you want and everything that you need, but that you don't realize it because you have your boundaries up. So that's what they feel like after you guys have this discussion. Who's right? Who's wrong? Only you know. Only you can say. All right. Let's look next at that part of the time frame that is what I consider the flex point. This is where things start to go a different direction. And they do that because this is a time where you have a lesson or experience. And with this lesson or experience, you start to turn things into a different direction. Okay. All right, so lesson or experience. Interesting. Pisces. I know that mostly women watch my channel, but I gotta tell you, you're coming up with some really strong masculine energy here as I'm looking at this. Looks to me like you're in a situation where you're providing for and protecting and looking out for somebody else. Okay? And as you're in this situation, I don't feel like this is even a challenge for you. I feel like you could do this all day, every day with your eyes closed. You know how to do this. You know how to play this role, Pisces. The thing is, yes, you're playing this role right now, but you're not committed to the idea of playing this role continuously. You're not committed to marrying yourself to this role, okay? Now, what's going on at the same time here? It looks like even though you're doing the providing, you're doing the protecting, so to speak, there's somebody in your sphere of influence who's not really in cooperation with you. They're not working with you. They're not a teammate. They're not a partner. All right? And I think because they're not actually, there's no energy exchange here. This is all you giving, and them all taking. You're really looking at, okay, I've got enough resources. I could go out on my own. I could do my own thing. I don't have to keep holding this person up over here. And I think you're really considering, do you want to go out and start something totally and completely new? Or do you want to stay in what has become comfortable over time, even though it's not really ideal? And I think that as we're going through this time frame, this is a thought process that you're still working on. I don't see you getting to one side or other of this particular decision during this week, okay? Now, what else is going on is that you're actually doing really well. You are shining. Your reputation is good. People are seeing that you are doing some really good work. You're being very productive, very fruitful. I feel like you have things that are coming up to you from the past that you pretty much thought were over, and people are coming to you and saying, can you help me with this project, or can you do this? This feels to me like work that maybe you've done a job for a client in the past and that's been done and gone. You haven't heard from that client for a while. Now they're coming back up and they're saying, you know what, I've got this new project. I was wondering if you could help me on it. What would you charge me for that? This is what it feels like to me. But at the same time that you've got these things coming in from the past, I think that you're struggling with the idea of working on these a little bit. I think that you had in your mind that you were going to be changing your image or changing some of the things that you were working on. And these people coming back from the past and saying, hey, I need your help with this. How much will you charge for me for that? You know that they want you to do what you used to do or what you've always done until now. And it kind of locks you in and keeps you from making that change that you're considering. And so I think that you're having a hard time making a decision about whether you want to take on these new projects from old clients again. Even though the pay is good, you feel like it deters you or distracts you from moving forward. And I guess I really shouldn't make it just about clients because there's a lot of ways that this could come in. You're really doing well. There are definitely things coming back from the past that are coming into your present, and they're good. They benefit you. But there is definitely something about this that sort of slows the cogs down, slows down the wheels of change. Okay? All right. So let's look at where we see you at the end of this week. Where are you, Pisces? You're in a very sheltered situation, whether that is literally a place or whether that is, a financial situation or, a personal situation. You're in a very sheltered place. You're in a protected place. But I don't think that you're happy here. I don't think that you're happy. And I think that you're doing something about this. You are trying to reach out and make some connections and do something about this unhappiness. And this is going to be what I look at for the expanded. I guess once again, where we see you at the end of the week, I want to know some more details. Like, what are you doing about this unhappiness? What type of sheltered place are we talking about? So we're going to look at that in the expanded. And so if I see you there, great. If I don't see you there, then I'll see you back here in a couple of minutes. Welcome back, Pisces. Okay, what we're looking at now is energies for December the 13th through the 19th. Once again, this is a general reading, meaning that most of this will apply to most of you, but if this does not apply, then you may want to check your rising sign and your moon sign, or your moon sign, whichever way you want to work it. Those of you who are cross-watchers, you are welcome to be here. However, please know energies are not reversible. This is a reading that is for Pisces and about Pisces. If you want to find a reading about you, then what you want to do is check your own sun sign, moon sign, or rising sign. All right, let's take a peek. Let's take a peek. For love, you guys, you may want to check your Venus sign, by the way. Alrighty. What we have going on for your environment during this time frame, Pisces, is it looks like there are some things that are really blocked up when you're going into your environment. So there may be a lot of people in your environment who are not communicating. There may be blockages of a sewer line or a water line of some type, but definitely there is some type of blockages showing up for your environment. And I think that you are making some major changes. I think that for you to get to the root of this blockage and take care of it, you're going to have to really strip things down to the bare bones. And I feel like it's going to leave you a little bit lost before this is all said and done about what exactly it's going to take to fix this and bring this into a situation that you would like to actually see it in. Next thing I want to look at is your subconscious leanings. Subconscious leanings. You're thinking about getting back together with somebody, not necessarily as a couple, but this could be a friend even. This could even be going back to an employer-employee situation, something along those lines as well. But you're thinking about getting back together with somebody, and you're thinking about taking on the responsibility of making that happen. But also on your mind is that really shake up your sense of security in your life right now. So I don't feel like you've done anything about this yet. I think you're still weighing the pros and cons at this point of, is it worth it to get back in touch with that old situation, or is that going to shake up everything in my world a little more than I want to have happen? All right, so that's what you're thinking. Next, we're looking at learning style and communication style. So I do think there's something that you would like to know more about, and there's a lot of confusion about this. It's interesting to me because there is a lot of confusion about this, but if you look deep enough, to get through, to get to the bottom of the matter and actually see the truth. All right. There's also a situation where you have a lot of knowledge already, but it looks like things are changing really quickly, and those things could be changing very dramatically. So it may be that you have to catch up on new information to stay abreast with whatever this is that's going on, that you had known everything there was to know about it before. I feel like also in learning style, I feel like there's something coming out where there has been a lot of shadow. There's been a lot of mystery. There's been a lot of unknown illusion. And I think that illusion is coming to light. And people, I think Pisces especially, are realizing that that illusion, the workings of that illusion are coming up right in front of your nose. And I think you're realizing, this is a realization where the words I keep hearing, I was trying to get around saying them, but Spirit is insisting. But it's a point where you're realizing that you've been duped. You've been duped in some way. You've been had in some way. Somebody has sold you a pack of lies, and you bought it. And you bought it because you didn't know any better. You didn't have any way to double check on them. Okay? Looking at communication style, I do think that communications are very emotional right now for you. Very emotional. And I think that there are some of your communications that almost as soon as they come out of your mouth, you wish that you could take them right back and you could burn them right out of the memories of whoever might have heard you say those things or read those words that you had written. So there may be some communication that, you're getting rid of. This could be that you're journaling and you're burning a journal entry, or that you're writing one of those letters that, you're never going to send just to help you to feel better around a situation, and then burning it afterwards so that it's never found. That could be as well. Also in communication, I do think that you're talking about this thing that I saw in your learning style, the very first thing. I think you're talking about this idea of there's so much confusion that is covering over the truth. And I think you're talking to some other people about this truth that is finally shining through once you start digging through all the information and finding out for yourself about something where someone else has been, I really get the sense somebody else has been just trying to manipulate the truth and lying about things. And I think that you've come to the realization that you can't trust what people are saying. You have to find information for yourself. Okay? And then the next thing that we're looking at talks to me about work. It looks to me like you are working alone during this time frame, Pisces, very much on your own. And I think that as you're working, I think that you are really focusing on what are your priorities. You're doing a lot of reflecting on yourself and what it is that you want out of life in general. This to me looks like not only are you working alone, but you're working in such a way that your mind is free to think about a lot of different things while you're accomplishing your work. There is something going on at work that's heartbreaking. I can tell you that. And it feels to me like the tribe of you at work may be split up. So this could be, the tribe of you is everybody's working from home now. And maybe that's heartbreaking because you really enjoy being able to see your friends and to, to communicate with them in a face-to-face type of way. But this could also be a situation where maybe work for some of you is actually shutting the doors and just closing down. Maybe that's temporary, and maybe for some of you it's permanent. As a matter of fact, I think what I'm going to look at for my expanded on this particular week is work, because work is so important to most of us. I want to find out more details about what's going on there. Why are you going it alone? Is it because work has closed the doors, or are you going it alone because you're working from home? What exactly is happening there, and what is that heartache? We're going to find out. We're going to find out. All right, the next thing that I'm looking at is that personality, which is being grown or expanded as you go through this week. What do we have? What do we have? It looks to me like you've been trying to clear out some old baggage and get rid of things, and it looks like you're just having a hard time with being able to actually complete that task, whether you're doing that at an energetic level or whether you're doing that at a very physical, tangible level. It does look to me like there's some kind of frustration that is coming up, and I think there's an end to that frustration. So to me, what's going on is I think it's really frustrating to you to be trying to clear things out and not able, but I think once we get to the end of this week, you are actually able to clear those things out, and that's what's bringing the end of the frustration. Actually, no, I'm going to say the idea or the offer for the help, or however this comes in, that you're able to get this completed. Just knowing you're going to be able to get it completed brings you an end of frustration and some relief. And I do believe that this is going to be completely cleared out by the end of the week. Next, let's look at what you're standing for during this time frame. This is going to be something that somebody has wanted to talk to you about. Maybe they're even confronting you, and so you're standing up for this, defending it, explaining it, whatever the case might happen to be for you. La da 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 da. All right, so what do we have here? It looks like you have been really confused about a situation, and it looks like there's been an opportunity to bring back interactions or a relationship with somebody, and that has not happened. Somebody has turned down that opportunity, whether it's you or whether it's this other person. I think that the reason you're so confused is because this other person is somebody who has very strong narcissistic tendencies. This is somebody who gaslights. This is somebody who who just really will tell you whatever it is that you want to hear to get whatever they want from you, and then have no intention of following through on that information. Or, sometimes they don't even make sure that that information is true if it's about something that already is or has already happened. So this is somebody who really doesn't shoot straight with you in any way, shape, or form, either verbally or emotionally. And I think that's why you're so confused. But the good news here is that whatever happened, whoever blocked the re-blossoming of this situation, it has been blocked. And I think that's the good news here, is that it has been blocked, because this person is not somebody that is a healthy person to have in your life. They're very bad for your self-esteem. They're bad for your emotions. They're bad for your manifestation abilities. I mean, they really... they're a hurt person, and it's hurt people that hurt people. Okay, so how this other person feels after you've stood up for this situation, which here it looks like what you probably had to explain was why you didn't want to move forward with this person. This other person feels like you're not really talking. And they feel like you are committed to being exploited. Basically, they feel like what you're not saying is that you would give anything to be exploited. So that kind of tells me that you're the one that offered to get back together with this other person who's really mistreated you, and who really probably still mistreats you. So you've offered to get back together with this person, and your person who asked you about this is feeling like that you're keeping secrets, that you really crave being taken advantage of for whatever reason. Otherwise, why would you do this? Okay, that's how that person is seeing you. All right. Next thing that we'll look at talks to me about your flex point, and the flex point is where things start to change for you. This is basically where you go through a lesson or experience, and as you go through that lesson or experience, you incorporate it into your life, and it sort of takes you a different direction because your perspective changes. Okay? Even if it just changes subtly, it's still something that you're learning from, you're moving forward from. It looks like you're really confused about a decision that you need to make, and this decision is around a person and their actions. The decision that you need to make is about, did somebody, a particular somebody, actually do something with ill intent, or did they do something that they thought was okay and then it got out of control and they didn't know how to get it back on track? And I think you're really confused as you're making this decision. You're not really sure which way you want to go with this. And I think that this whole decision has you feeling really depressed. And I think as you're avoiding making this decision, you are just going to turn a blind eye to it and take all the red flags and sweep them straight up under the carpet and just begin anew as if nothing ever happened, without even a mention of it. That's what I see you doing. What's going on at the same time here? Well, you're putting yourself in a very vulnerable situation, especially when it comes to home and family. And I think that you know that. You're very much aware that you're putting yourself in a vulnerable situation here. What else is going on? You're finding some healing here. So you're finding some healing out of this situation. So even though this rebirth has not happened of this situation, you're finding some healing, you're finding some closure. And actually, this is making you communicate with the divine even more than what you did before. And so you are dealing with it. It's a challenge to you. This is not something that's just easy peasy lemon squeezy, but you're dealing with it, and you're dealing it with a lot of grace. Okay? Other people may not even realize that this is a struggle for you, actually, as you're dealing with it. All right. What are we looking at next, Pisces? Let's see where you are at the end of the week. Ooh, I like it. We have a happiness card here. All right, so Pisces, I don't know, y'all have been confounding me so far this month. You have not failed to do that again this week. So where I see you, when I look at this first card that talks about where you are at the end of the week, you know your strengths. You know what you bring to a situation. You know your strong points. And this could be a romantic situation, or this could be a work situation. And I think you're very happy in knowing your strengths. However, you're not feeling very empowered. So this basically tells me that you're very happy to know what you're good at or what you bring to the table, but you're trying to plug in what you're good at or what you bring to the table to someone who doesn't appreciate it, whether it's a company or whether it's a person. You know what you're good at, you're offering it to someone, and they are not appreciating it at all, which doesn't put you in a good position. How are you going to negotiate for a high pay rate when somebody doesn't appreciate what you're good at? Maybe you need to be applying for jobs that take advantage of your skills and capabilities. Maybe you need to be adjusting where you're focusing. And if this is about relationship, well, you know, if somebody doesn't appreciate the good in you, what are they going to say about the not so pretty parts of you? About the shadow side of you? Ugh. No. You want to present yourself to somebody who is going to appreciate you, whichever way this goes, whether it's relationship or work-wise. Okay? So let me go ahead and wrap this up. For those of you who don't check out the expanded on the work situation, I will see you back here for the rest of the monthly here in about a minute. See you soon. December the 20th through December the 26th for you, Pisces. So, this is a general reading. Not everything I say will apply to every single Pisces here. However, most of what I say will apply to most of you. Those of you who are cross-watchers and wish to find out information about Pisces, that is totally fine and you're perfectly welcome here. But please know that energies do not reverse in my readings. And so whatever I'm picking up is for Pisces and about Pisces. If it happens to also apply to you, okay, whatever. but it is not about you or for you. If you want a reading that's about you or for you, then obviously you want to check your sun sign, your moon sign, or your rising sign. All right. Let's see what comes down for you, Pisces. What's going to hit the table for this time frame for you? Okay. So Pisces, first of all, we are looking at your environment. And what we have going on with your environment is it looks like there's something you're trying to change or improve, and it is stubbornly staying the same. However, I do feel like you are dedicated to making sure that whatever this is does change or upgrade. Kind of basically no matter what it takes, you're pretty dedicated to that. I don't think you feel that you can keep going in your environment the way that it is. Now, looking next at your subconscious leanings, once again, the occult, the arcane, that is showing up here. And it looks to me like you may be getting into a point where you're obsessed with the occult or the arcane. And I think what we saw lately in some of the advanced or expanded readings would kind of explain why you might be. But it looks like you're focusing too intensely, and what's happening is you're making it, well, you're not making it weaker, but you're making your reception of those abilities weaker by focusing too intensely, and it looks like that's what's on your subconscious. I realize I'm focusing too intensely. What do I do to fix that? How do I just relax into it? That's what I think you're working on in your subconscious. All right. It's interesting. It is something that you have to relax into. If you can't relax, you're not going to get the messages. And it can be difficult when you're first starting to be able to put yourself into that Zen place to pull in those. All right. Because we are receiving the messages, we're not creating the messages. Next thing we're looking at, though, is learning style and also communication style. Learning style. I do think that somebody is talking to you, is giving you information. It's interesting to me. I don't feel like this is a two-way conversation. I feel like someone is giving you information. So maybe you are listening to audios and learning something like that, or videos even. But like I said, I feel like this is a one-way conversation. I think somebody is teaching you something, talking to you about something, but you're not responding. You're not saying anything back to them. All right. What else do we have about learning style? There is a lot of confusion, and I think that you are focusing right through the confusion and finding the truth. I don't think that that confusion is fooling you right now. La da 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 da. I do think that there is some communication going on around stability and security, and I think that that's almost at the level of casual conversation more than it is about learning how to create it. I think it's just casual conversation with other people that is giving you this information. Looking at communication style. What's going on here, Pisces? It looks like for some people you are definitely throwing up a smoke screen. You're being very vague with them. You're trying to throw them off the track of whatever this is that you're doing or you're talking about. Whereas with other people, you're being very direct and very much to the point. So it's kind of like you're trying to do something in secret. And you're very focused on that, very much to the point on that. And you're also very focused on this idea of not letting somebody know exactly what you're doing. Of course, you know, this is the week of Christmas. Oh, and by the way, Merry Christmas. So it's easy to see how that could happen in this time frame. La da 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 da. What else do we have as far as communication? Pisces, I just think that you have a lot of little secret surprises hidden around. It looks to me like, um, yeah, I'm basically getting this idea of gifts being hidden right there in plain sight or right under people's noses. So communication, those gifts are there, they're waiting for that person, but that person doesn't even realize that they're right there in front of them. La da da da. Even if they do realize it, they don't know what they are, is what I'm hearing you say. All right, and then also, what do we have for communication style? I do think that you are giving a whole lot of complicated hints that are more meant to throw somebody off the trail than help somebody figure out what's actually happening. All right, let's look at work. What do we have going on here? Okay. Okay, so it doesn't look like you're in isolation when it comes to work anymore. You're coming out of that phase of, really just trying to find your values. There is some kind of downtime here, though, that is not something that you chose. So this is, downtime from work. This could be somebody telling you, maybe some of you Pisces don't actually celebrate Christmas, and this could be somebody saying, well, the rest of the office does, so you don't need to be in here, you don't need to be working, type of thing. Could be something like that. There could also be something else going on that's beyond your control that's causing you to have what I call forced downtime. It's not downtime that's taken voluntarily. The beauty of forced downtime, though, is that it does give you time to think about things you normally wouldn't think about. And so you have this, you come out of it with a new perspective about different things that are important to your life that you normally wouldn't have a chance to really think through. Does look to me like this is something that you have to endure. You're not very happy about this downtime at all. At all. And it looks to me like you're feeling like, you just started something that's new and exciting, and you don't have it all figured out yet, but you were making good progress with it, and now you're having to backtrack and move backwards with this downtime. Okay? La da 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 da. All right. Next thing that we're looking at here talks to me about that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Definitely spending time with friends and family, and I think you're learning some things. It's interesting to me. It comes across that you're learning some things about the friends and family that you're spending some time with during this time frame. And spending time with does not even have to be physically. This comes from just communicating, but that you're spending time with this week. And I think what you're finding out about them is some of the struggles that they've been facing and that they've made their way through since the last time that you guys really got to catch up and talk with them. I think that some of the struggles that other people have gone through are going to be a surprise to you. I think you're even going to wonder why that anything was happening here. Why didn't they let me know? That's how it comes across to me. All right, so the next thing that we have are, is that thing that you stand for. So we're looking at a situation that happened that somebody has wanted to talk to you about this. They either wanted you to explain it, maybe they confronted you about it. So you've had to explain or defend this situation. So it looks to me like you're healing up from some kind of heartache, and as you're healing up, you are looking to make a decision about something, and you're trying to look at every little detail and just sort out what is the final decision. You're trying to weigh all the pros and the cons against each other, and it's really making you very confused. Now, advice when that card always comes up about weighing the pros and cons is, don't break it down into every little detail like that. Just look at the overall, just look at the big picture and walk away with that in your mind as you're making this decision. But anyway, for this moment, while these cards are on the table right now and I'm making these predictions, the way the energy lies is that you are looking at every little detail, and it is making you feel very confused. Now, how this other person sees you is that you are facing some type of challenge right now, and that you seem to be facing it well. It looks like there is something that you have brought to an end, and they see you as somebody who is still trying to find your peace or make your peace with whatever that was that you have completed or brought to an end. Okay? La da 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 da. Next thing we're going to look at is going to be your flex time, your lesson or experience, and what happens as you incorporate that into your life. Okay? So, lesson or experience for this particular time frame for you Pisces. What do we have? Really, you're having a hard time finding your balance. You're having a hard time finding a sense of fulfillment. It feels to me like whatever you're doing in life, you're just feeling like you're not doing enough. You're not making a big enough difference. And you're feeling really dissatisfied about it. And your energy is kind of scattered as you're looking for a way to make a difference. It almost feels like you're scrambling to try to find a way to make a difference at this point. Yeah, all right. And so I do feel like you're still in that position of knowing what you bring to the table. We saw this last week, knowing what your strong points are and really looking for where can you plug those strong points into. I do think that you are manifesting a place to plug those strong points into, but there's no energy moving around there right now. And that could be just because it's the holiday season. You may want to give Father Time a little chance to work here. At the same time that all of this is going on, you're not really collaborating with anybody right now, and you're feeling really confused about the idea of coming together with somebody. It looks to me like you haven't been collaborating with anyone for a while, and so you're just really not sure if you even want to. You're kind of thinking, you know what, I've got things set up pretty decently for myself, really overall. I don't know if I want to, start collaborating with somebody, especially somebody from the past. All right? Let's look next at where you are at the end of this particular time frame. Is this Pisces or somebody else? That's what I thought. Okay. So here's what's going on. Let me take a swig here because my throat's feeling all jacked up. I think that when there's a certain person around you towards the end of the week, it's really hard for you to speak. I think there could be things sticking in your throat that you can't come out with. Yes, I am superstitious. And I think that this person is somebody who has narcissistic tendencies. We saw him, last week or week before? Could be a her. And I think that because you're trying to keep the peace, you're not saying everything that you would normally say if you were having an interaction with somebody who was more reasonable, shall we say. Okay? However, in spite of the fact that you can't say everything that you would really like to say around this person, I feel like you're doing well towards the end of the week, professionally and personally. And I feel like what's going on here towards the end of the week is you're doing well. Your self-esteem is up. Things are just moving well for you. You're feeling supported by the universe. You're very productive. And this person is still being this person, still being the negative naysayer, blah, 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 and nothing you do is right. Can't make them happy. Just can't. Nothing ever makes them happy. And I think you're at this point where you're just accepting that. You're just accepting that no matter what I do, there's nothing really that's going to make you happy, so why am I trying so hard? And I think to me, I take this as a really good thing, because when we have somebody who's narcissistic around us, they can really emotionally just put us through the ringer. I think when we get to that point where we just accept that, well, this is just the way they are, and we get a little bit more detached from the whole interaction, then we can start to find some peace and some zen in our lives. We can start to get our balance back. And that's kind of been a challenge for you. I think this allows you to bring your balance back. I think this is part of why you're doing so well towards the end of the week, Pisces. Okay. So, wow, we went through that whole reading and I didn't find anything that I thought, oh, inquiring minds want to know. So there won't be an expanded for this week. Let's, yeah, I'm just going to take a break and come back and finish off the last week for you, Pisces. I'll see you soon. Hello there, Pisces. We are back, and this is for the last week that I'm calling December in-depth tarot forecast, and this is starting December the 27th, running through January 2nd, just checking the energy flow as we go through this particular time frame. Let's see what we have. Your narcissist is showing up again. Yippee skippy. Yippee skippy. Alright guys, let's start off with your environment. Your environment is any place where you have energy or effort invested. And so we're talking December 27th through January 2nd. I really don't see any work going on in your environment. I do see you actually paying something off or paying something down as far as a debt or something that you owe to somebody. And I do still see you making some type of decision here. And once again, I still see you looking at all the little details, trying to add those up and decide, okay, what is the most important, takeaway from this? What is the cumulative list of pros and cons there? And that is all having to do with your environment. Subconscious leanings, I can already tell you this is what we're going to do and expand it on, just because I want to see a little bit more information here. So it does look like you are considering some kind of major shakeup. It looks like this has to do with the idea of not being in a partnership or a collaboration. I would say more of a partnership type level of collaboration though, so partnership. You don't want to be in a partnership. There's some kind of shakeup. I'm not sure if the shakeup is causing you to not want to be in a partnership or vice versa. We're going to take a peek at how that's all working out. But it does look like that in the long run this works out well, because this does bring some type of healing over a situation that has really been bothering you, especially emotionally. Now, we want to look next at your learning style and your communication style. Learning style. I really think that there's somebody who is trying to show you something or teach you something or maybe even mentor you in some way, and you're pretty closed off to this. I don't think that you want to hear from this person. I'm hearing that you're not viewing them as qualified to show you this or to teach you this. I do think that you're getting some things from Spirit. So this may be that psychic ability or that mediumship ability that you're finding a way to relax into it, because I show you learning some things from Spirit, and very actively, I think you are actively looking for information from Spirit. What else do we have? Style. I think you're also really learning about a situation that's been going on and having to do with your sphere of influence, and you are looking for what is the most fair and just way to actually handle that situation. You don't want to be unfair to anybody in this situation, but I do think that it's kind of sticky for you. So you're learning everything that you can about this situation so that you can make that decision. Communication style. I do think that you are definitely trying to be honest and truthful, trying to shed some light on a situation. So it may be that there's somebody around you who doesn't know about something or doesn't understand something, and you feel like it's important for them to know or understand that. And so you are trying to bring them the truth. Will they listen to it? I don't know, but you're definitely putting the truth out there for them. Um, yeah. And I am going to tell you, one of the things that I learned in being a reader is that sometimes it's our job to bring the message or to bring the truth to somebody, but it's not our job to oversee what they do with that truth. So, you know, that may be something that you want to keep in mind as you're bringing the truth to somebody. You know, they may or may not accept that truth, but have a clear delineation of where has your responsibility to that person actually ended. Okay. What else do we have on communication style? I think that there's a lot of ruckus going on around you. There's a lot of chaos. There's a lot of confusion. And I think as far as your communication, you are being very clear, very direct. You're not leaving anything up for question. I do think also you're talking about this decision that you had to make that you wanted to be really, really fair about. And I think communicating with somebody else who would be experienced in making these kind of judgment calls to help you to really sort through this and figure out what it is that you actually are going to decide here. I don't know if you guys are picking that up on my microphone, but right across the wall from me is the kitchen. There's a little one that's staying here a little while, and sounds like she's not too happy with whatever it is her dad wants her to eat for supper. So she's throwing a little fit there. I apologize if you guys find that distracting. I grew up with 6 little brothers, so I can focus through anything. Just so you know, your reading's still good. Whether you can stand to listen to it or not, that's up to you. Alright, so anyway, next thing that we're looking at does have to do with work. Okay, and so what we have going on is that there has been some kind of struggle that's been going on with work. I see that struggle coming to an end, and it looks to me like you have a decision to make. I think you have more than one offer in front of you as far as jobs or as far as contracts. I think you may be being offered a promotion or a position with your company as well as some type of position outside your company, or it could be that you're being offered a couple of offers that are both outside your company. I think you're having to decide which one has the most merit, which one are you going to be happiest at long term, you know, which one, which one bottom line is going to work for you. And then last but not least about work, this is an odd card to show that, but I do think that you are really rejoicing. And I think that part of the reason you're rejoicing is that the opportunities that you have in front of you allow you to move along what you consider to be more of your life path than what you were able to do before, where you might have been frustrated in that before. Okay, so work is pretty freaking awesome. All right. Next, let's look at that part of your personality which is being grown or expanded right now. Oh, look at this. Look at this, you guys. Alright, so you feel like you've made yourself more vulnerable than you need to be whenever you've looked at something in retrospect, and now you've got some boundaries up. We saw this before in one of the earlier weeks this month. Somebody was talking to you about this. So anyway, boundaries are up. Even as your boundaries are up, I do see you reconnecting to somebody from the past, somebody that you have memories of or that you have respect for, and I see you as you're connecting with this person simultaneously walking away from someone else. Now, it doesn't have to be a person. This could be a company or a group. So you could be reconnecting with a company that you've worked for or a person that you've worked for, maybe even at a different company. This could be in your personal life too, that you're reconnecting to somebody from your past and you are letting go of somebody or a work situation that has left you feeling depleted one way or the other. Okay? And that's eclipse energy showing up right there. We do have an eclipse November 30th, and those eclipses tend to affect us. I'm not sure if it's for 3 months or 6 months. Anyway, they tend to affect us for a long time. All right, so next thing that we're looking at are those things that you stand for. This is going to be a situation that somebody wanted you to explain, or maybe they confronted you about it. You had to defend it. What we have coming up here, there's your narcissist right in the middle of that. Looks like there's a lot of tension going on between you and your narcissist, and I think you're enjoying it. I can't say that I've seen this before, Pisces, but I think you're enjoying the idea that there's tension between the two of you. Maybe you just enjoy the idea that you have this person's attention. But I think that what you're doing right now is you're changing things up on your narcissist, where you used to give and give and give to them and put yourself behind them as far as in importance and in priorities. You're not so much doing this at this point. You're standing up for yourself and you're saying, you know what, I don't mind helping you, but I also have to have some time for me. Okay? And so this is something that somebody's confronted you about or talked to you about, and how they feel after you've had this conversation or explained the situation to them. They really feel like there's not really anything to celebrate here, but you have a pretty good grip on what's going on, and you are continuing forward with it. That's their opinion about what's happening here after you talk about this situation. Alrighty. Next thing that we want to look at is going to be your flex point. That's where things start to change direction a little bit, where you have a lesson or experience that changes your perspective, which of course changes your direction. I do see you being really confused about something. You're having a hard time deciding if you want to keep some type of situation in your life the same as it's always been, with that same comfortable discomfort, or if you want to do something that would be totally and completely new and unexplored for you. I think that what you're leaning towards is really not changing anything, and I think because you're leaning towards not changing anything, you're not talking to anybody. So somebody who has given you an opportunity to go out and do something completely different, you're avoiding any kind of conversation with them because you're having a hard time making a decision whether you want to do this or not. You're leaning towards not, but you don't really want to say that you're leaning towards not because you're afraid then that if you change your mind that you can't go back for that opportunity. So right now you're just avoiding that conversation. What else is going on? Yeah, you're having a real hard time tapping into your intuition to get this answer here, and this is making you feel really weak. This delay is actually not helping your finances, and it's not helping your self-worth or your self-esteem. And interestingly enough, even though your self-esteem and your self-worth is going down, you're having a hard time tuning in to what your intuition is trying to tell you. You are doing really well. You're being super productive. It looks to me almost like you have gone into hyperproductive mode so that you don't have to think about these things that you're having a hard time tuning in on. And so that you can really basically avoid this whole opportunity completely. It's like you're burying your head in the sand intentionally, Pisces. Don't do that. What else is going on at the same time? Yeah, you're not collaborating with anybody else. You are dealing with some kind of forced downtime. We see this coming up again, but you've got some great ideas coming out of that forced downtime about what you want to do moving forward. I feel like these ideas have a lot more to do with what you want to do on your own rather than in any type of collaboration with somebody else. Okay, so that's what we've got coming up for your flex point. Now let's look at where we see you at the end of the month. Well, really probably January 1st and 2nd. To be honest about it, really. The end of this week. So, yeah, I don't like this, actually. Your energy is still being scattered. You're having a hard time staying focused on what it is that you want to do. You're feeling a little bit unbalanced, ungrounded. And it looks like there's something really eating at you that you haven't been able to heal up yet. Okay, so let's look at your subconscious leanings in the expanded. Maybe that'll give us some clues about all of that. And then we'll just go from there. But if I don't see you in the expanded, thank you very much for being here. Thank you for putting a thumbs up on the video, for sharing the video with other people that may find it beneficial. Thank you for joining me for my super chats. And thank you also for ordering private readings and private Reiki sessions and Reiki candles. And thank you for getting the expanded readings as well. I do appreciate you all. Every single level of that type of interaction with me does make it so that I can do what I love to do for my living. So thank you very much. Everybody have a fantastic month. And if I don't see you here for a private session or a private Reiki, then next video. Peace out, everybody.